because you were at Mayo.
I was at Mayo in fundraising.
In fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
Is the fundraising piece easily transferable? Because often it's difficult to shift sectors.
It's a good question. I'm going to answer a slightly different question. I would advise anyone who's considering, especially in fundraising, be careful that the mission is always your passion.
Okay.
I learned in various assignments at Michigan that you can be very successful, but that's not the right question. The question is, at what cost to you? And when I was working on projects that I wasn't as naturally passionate about, I learned I was successful in raising the money, but it was like walking through wet cement. It was much harder than when you're just on fire with what the dollars are actually going to impact. Yeah.
So was it easy to return? Because you were gone as a professional.
I was gone for
11, 12 years.
Yeah, I left in 2000 and I came back in 14. Yeah, because after I left Michigan, I went to Grinnell College in Iowa for 3 years. Great college, great program, great town. It wasn't hard for me. I know I often hear from others that it's either hard to come to Minnesota for the first time or hard to return. I think I was the outlier. It was easy for me in that I think because I'd maintained such close ties all while I was gone, but also, and I think really importantly, I governed myself pretty hard to say, but you have to find new connections as well. Don't slide back in to just your old ways. And I found it very easy to connect with people. I started a book club, and that's been wonderful. I've met incredible people through that. I was just super intentional about finding a new faith community and immerse myself in the neighborhood. So it's been easy for me. But again, I think it's because I had the understanding of Minnesota.
Right.
I didn't find our ways foreign, so to speak.
There you go. I think it's so important, the point you made about staying in touch, staying connected. Because in busy lives, that's an easy thing to fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
And I think, in hearing how you transition back, that was certainly helpful so that you didn't, in a sense, come back as a stranger to this professional
Correct.
Community.
Correct. Yeah, I'm still very good friends with, the people that I practice social work with,
Oh, really?
in the 80s. And I keep very close tabs with my friends in Michigan and Grinnell.
How did you know when it was time to move to the next thing?
Good question. I've had the good fortune of never looking for a job. I was a Mayo scholar when I went to graduate school, so I knew that culminated at the end of going to Mayo. And then, ever since then, have been asked to consider, would you consider joining us to do X, Y, or Z? Certainly, I've had more invitations than I've accepted. So the twist on the question is probably, so when did you decide not to take a position versus when did you decide to say
That's
yes?
Right. What are those influencers?
Yeah. For me, it always starts with the same framework, which is first asking myself, have I finished what I set out to do where I currently am?
Okay.
Not is it done, because in social work or in fundraising, it's never done. But when I start somewhere, I always think, I would like to accomplish the following.
Okay.
So my first question is always, when I'm somewhere and I get a request to go somewhere else, I always start there. Because if my answer to that is no, I'm not finished with what I set out to do, then I'm complimented, but I say no and get back to work.
Yeah.
If the answer to that is yes, then the next question for me is always, what is their mission, and is it what you want to put your life toward? If this was the last position you held, would you be pleased and proud to be doing that work? And if the answer to that is no, conversation's done.
Yeah.
If the answer to that is yes, I really want to meet the leader. I want to meet who I'm going to have the opportunity to learn from and am I going to learn new things?